Brews and Banter Podcast. Banter Podcast. Brews and Banter Podcast. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Brews and Banter Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the Legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I got water, I got, juice or whatever. It's like, y'all need twin legs? Matter of fact, I do.
To everybody is, does Delaware have an actual culture? This is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Raise your wrist, that's perfect timing. Yeah.
Whose song is that?
That is, I don't even know how you say it. R-I-N-I, Rini? Pressure?
I don't know.
No.
It sounds nice.
It's something I like, so I just
It sounds
threw
like
it on.
It's a little Drakey.
Yeah.
He only said one line.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Bruising Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rocket and the brew. Well, happy to fuel, and I'm your host, Rob G, and with me, as always, the Legendary Brew Crew. What's going on, fellas?
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
We are here at Attic Brewing today, live on location, if you can't tell. We
Live
are
on
in
location.
Building.
We're in a brewery.
We have some special guests, if you don't mind telling us who you are.
Sure, I'm Laura Lacy. I'm one of the owners of Attic Brewing Company.
Hi, Laura.
And I'm Todd Lacy, the other owner of Attic Brewing Company.
Hey, Todd.
Hello, Todd.
I can't hear, but I'm going to give you a round of applause for being on the podcast.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having us.
Before we begin, we always like to know what we are drinking on, and we can go one by one. So, what we
What
should
we gonna start
with? I guess
Yeah.
everybody started with this.
Oh, I didn't even know they started.
Oh, I didn't know. They started.
Sheesh.
We split ours.
Oh.
You can't count.
So what are we drinking on right here?
So what we got here is our G-Town Strutter German Pilsner.
Okay.
G-Town.
Thought we'd start off a little light and work away to the heavier
Okay.
stuff.
I love a good
Sounds
Pilsner.
good. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, this is nice.
It is. It's nice and crisp and refreshing.
The glass is clean.
Always
What's
good.
the ABV on this?
This one is, I think, around 5.4. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And what's the name of it again?
G-Town Strutter.
G-Town Strutter. That's for Germantown?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
the bunny is strutting.
Okay. G-Town Strutter. That's what this is.
I know that.
Who does the can art? Because let me see that.
Yeah, that's pretty.
wonderful.
He look like
Puss in
he
Boots.
definitely looking pimpish right
It's
there.
like Puss in Boots.
That was the idea.
This
He's
is
strutting out.
It's Puss in Boots' urban cousin.
All right.
Definitely Puss in Boots. This is dope. Who did this?
Mario Zucca is the artist. He lives in Mount Airy, does really cool
Nice.
art. So
Okay.
we collaborated with him to make this cool can art. And you'll see through some of the other beers, we have a not so subtle cat theme that happens with some of the beers. So
Oh,
got
so
the
who's
cat
the
on there.
cat lover?
So y'all are cat people?
Yeah, we're both cat people, but we like dogs too. When we opened the brewery, one of our things to try to get money to open the brewery was to promote it, and we had two cats.
Oh, okay.
And you know how people
Love cats. Yeah.
cat pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
we
they
started
do.
using them as sort of a way to get followers and attention, and they just sort of stuck.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
yeah. So if
That
you
was
ever
smart.
look at most of our beer labels, you'll find a cat on them somewhere.
we all have cats. on.
Sometimes
Oh,
they're
okay.
very obvious. Other times they're a little more hidden, but
So that's like a game you guys play, like find the cat?
yeah.
Like the Easter egg, I
Yeah,
guess.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. Before Attic was a thing, like how did you get into craft beer? Was you always into beer individually? Like how did you get into beer?
I feel like we tell this similar story a few times, but Todd and I met. We were both working at Valley Forge National Historical Park. Todd grew up in Colorado. I grew up in Illinois. We both studied history. We were working out there, and really lucked out because there was a group of rangers that we worked with who were into craft beer. They were some of the early homebrewers, and traveled around and found these great beers. So we would get dressed up as 18th century soldiers and sleep out at the huts of Valley Forge, and they would bring amazing beers for us to try. And so it kind of got us into like away from the light lagers we were drinking when we were in college. And then we started traveling around and visiting craft breweries in the early 2000s, right when, you know, the breweries were coming back and with a lot of strength. So we probably visited close to 400 breweries all over the country, just as craft beer fans. We'd go somewhere, visit a national park, and then hit up a couple of breweries, found that you could really get a sense of the neighborhoods or the cities. You could also ask, like, oh, where's the best places to camp that, you know, other people don't know about, or where's the good restaurants or artists or whatever. So we really, I don't know, enjoyed craft beer and craft breweries.
400, I would hope so.
Right. You have to enjoy it. If you didn't, there's a
I
problem.
think that's where all our money went to.
Yeah, I would say so.
We still have a collection of bottles from our trips that are probably all bad now.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's good.
I saw them downstairs in the basement. But yeah, we would just travel around and just drink craft beer because we liked it.
So both of you guys were into craft beer before you guys even met?
No, this was around the time that we met. So it's
Okay.
like 2005.
Okay.
Both right out of college.
Right out of college,
Okay. So y'all both went on this journey together.
Yeah, it's like an easy bonding
Yeah.
experiment.
Yeah, that is an easy bonding experience.
Todd got into it a little bit different because he got into homebrewing.
Okay.
And so back in 2010, I bought him a homebrew kit for his 30th birthday, and he started brewing beer. We happened to be living in an attic apartment here in Germantown, and so
It's all come together.
that's where like, kind of like the
Well,
attic
they gotta
brewing-
ask. Nope, we don't gotta ask now.
But yeah, so he was brewing beer, and
Yeah, so we thought combining our love for craft beer and visiting breweries and making beer kind of made sense to
Yeah.
maybe open our own. But
Yeah.
we were never serious about it for a long time. We just always jokes like, this is how what we'll do when we open our own brewery. But
Right.
eventually we started getting a little more serious about it.
Yeah.
But how cool is that you didn't have to convince your wife to drink craft beer?
no, it's actually
Or
the-
even vice versa.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's always that conversation.
Yeah, they
try this, try
literally
this.
went on the journey
and one or the
together.
other's like, nah.
I don't like that.
We both just got on it about the same time.
Yeah.
with the craft beer for sure. And then 2016, I had been working for H&M, the clothing company, for about 12 years, and just didn't want to work there anymore. And called Todd up, and I'm like, hey, I'm quitting my job on Tuesday. I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to have my own business. And so it was, we talked through it and ended up like, I wonder if we could open a brewery. And so in spring of 2016, the idea of opening a brewery started, and it took us almost 4 years to get open.
Yeah.
from
Wow.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a leap.
The follow-up question would have been, how you come up with the name Attic, but now.
Yeah, there's no need for that. They lived in the attic in Germantown.
We don't have kids, but coming up with a business name and a brewery name is really hard. There's over 9,000 breweries in the country, so you got to get that trademark early and have an identity behind it. So we didn't want to be stuck. Like, we didn't want to be Cat Brewing Company where everything for the next 25 years has to revolve around cats.
Right.
And so we saw, like, vintage nostalgia. There's a lot of history in Germantown, and we were able to bring a lot of things together through Attic. And then coincidentally, most of the time they list the breweries alphabetically, so we're usually at the top of the list.
There you go.
So
Strategy.
there was some strategy.
Marketing
Yes,
and strategy.
definitely.
We got 2 SP and second district to kind of sneaking
But
above
them A's,
us, but
those A's, it's
but you're
it's
usually
no
near the
aardvark
top
brewing.
with the A's.
Yeah.
Sounds
good.
So was
That's
Attic
smart.
the first name you landed on, or did y'all juggle something first, but then you said, you know what, Attic makes the most sense, or did you start with Attic, thought about it, and then came back to Attic?
I feel like that was a name that we kind of agreed on almost from the beginning.
Okay.
We had a couple other ideas, but that one just resonated with us.
Yeah. Right.
Like, we could be like Germantown Brewery or something, but like Attic is cool. It's different. No one else is named Attic.
Yeah,
At least
sure.
at the time.
Yeah.
Right. Wait, is there somebody else Attic now?
There is. So there's a.
Because
so,
he said at least not at the time.
so there is an Attic Brew Co. in the UK that we have gotten their bills emailed to us, and people check in beers and tag us. So we've never met each other, and hope one day we can do a cool like cross
Collab.
the Atlantic
Yeah,
collaboration.
that'd
But
be nice.
there
Attic
is
to
an
Attic.
Attic Brew Co. in the
Attic
UK.
Brew Co., okay.
Yes. And it sounds like they brew great beer though, so it's good that at least we're in good company.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
It's a good mistake.
And just to be clear, the name came from the apartment that you guys lived in.
Did.
That's the idea, yeah. That
That's the
Todd
idea.
was homebrewing. There were adventures that happened there, and it is a nod to our original brewing roots.
We
in
say
Germantown.
adventures like. What?
Have you homebrewed before?
No. Wait, I'm not going to say no.
I was about to say.
I tried it. Nah.
Let's just say it's the top of a 100-year-old house. So when you're trying to ferment beer and keep a consistent temperature, and you're in the top floor where it's nice and hot in the summertime, and you decide to ferment the beer in a cooler, but the water leaks out of the cooler and water is dripping down in the apartment, or you close the kegerator door on the party tap and all the beer pours out into the apartment below you.
Oh, man.
Beer is like a beer quest.
Definitely.
Yes.
Bottle bombs in our bedrooms. We'd
Really?
store bottles of beer in our bedrooms. That was the
There go
coldest
Todd
room.
and Laura again. Messing up.
Pretty much.
Up in the
Landlord would
attic,
be like,
acting a fool.
yeah, what are you doing
Up in the
over there?
Attic Brewery.
With a company, is that a company that they got?
So how long did you do home brewing for? Like, what made you get into that?
Just from all the friends that I had that were also homebrewers. Like they'd invite me to come out and homebrew with them. It was like, oh, this is cool. It's fun. You can make your own beer.
Right.
So I kind of got into it. And when Laura bought me that homebrew kit, just went
It
from
was
there.
on from there, huh?
So, yeah, so that's,
Yeah.
I guess, about 10 years of homebrewing before we opened. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When we decided to open the brewery, I'd always been the brewery helper. My job was to like wash bottles and stuff for him. But when we decided to open a brewery, I'm like, I want to learn how to do
Yeah.
this. So he taught me how to homebrew. I was creating my own beer recipes, and then in the last probably 2 years before we opened, we were running a microbrewery out of our house, and so we were running 2 5-gallon homebrew systems consecutively, sometimes up to 3 times a day, brewing beer, showing up at events, and no one knew that we were presenting ourselves as Attic Brewing Company. We're going to be opening in Germantown, getting our name out there, but no one knew that we were brewing that beer at home.
Yeah.
But we destroyed our kitchen, I'll tell you that much. But we had 14 six-stools, and we were like pumping out beer.
What was coming out of there? Like what styles?
Some of what
What you guys have now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can.
our brown ale, which we don't have right now, is one that we'd crank out a lot.
Brown Ale was the first beer we won a GABF medal for, and that
Okay.
was a recipe I created as a home brewer.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Make sure you say it. Make sure you say it.
IPAs, Pilsners, Kolsch.
Oh, you see?
We
I'm
did,
doing
y'all
we
was
did
everything.
a lot of stuff.
Cat Boss is a homebrew recipe, right?
Capos, yeah.
Yeah, so
Is it?
we want to taste
Which
another
one is
beer.
Cat's Balls?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Yeah, let's do
So
that one next.
that one is Cat Boss. It'll be one of the lighter colored
Let's see.
ones.
Oh, yep,
West
I see.
Coast, West Coast IPA.
Oh, this smells so good.
There you go. Lou's one of our non-IPA drinkers.
But I could sit it on my nose all day.
But it's,
No, this is good,
But
though.
when you think
This
of
is
West Coast,
smooth.
you think of real hot bombs. This is
Yeah,
not
this
that.
is-
Like, oh my goodness.
Have you tasted it? Taste it.
I will.
It's good.
It's our
It's
interpretation of a West Coast IPA.
Right.
So there's some things that are not super traditional in there.
Not super hoppy.
No, it's not super hoppy.
Yeah, so it's not as bitter as you would think when you think West Coast
It's
IPA.
smooth- it
But-
is-
and
it's a smoother
and
IPA.
it's clear, but so it's not a hazy. So you know it's a West Coast, but it's not
Right.
harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of them could be
Bro.
a hard drink.
This one, it's got
Not
like a
so
nice
much.
floral,
Yeah.
little like
Yeah.
orange zest
Yes.
flavor to it.
Yes.
It's one of the most one of our more popular West Coast
It's
or
a-
American style IPAs that we brew.
It's definitely an easy,
And what's
easy
the
drink.
ABV on this one?
This one is 7.7, so it's
7.7.
a little up there.
Should I ask
Oh,
that first?
yeah. Me
You
too.
don't have to finish it.
Look,
I
me
definitely,
too.
I definitely will.
Don't worry about that.
But me too. I was like, oh, slow down.
Yeah. I know. I did put a couple heavy hitters on in this flight, but
Oh, it's all right.
It's okay.
yeah,
We're grown.
we brew. I think we're around somewhere around 50 or 60 different beers since we opened in January of 2020, and so it's that craft or the creativity behind the brewing that really drives that, because
Yeah.
both Todd and I came as home brewers, and then we have a head brewer, Bogdan, who does the brewing for us.
Okay.
He worked as a production brewer for Trogs, who makes amazing
Oh,
beers,
yes,
and
they
so
do.
he learned how to continue to brew amazing beers. But he really likes the creativity behind crafting the beers too. And
Do you guys still come up with recipes?
That's what I was going to say. Is it the three of you guys that do the recipe? It seems like you really enjoy
That's
the
her
recipe
thing,
making.
yeah.
I wouldn't say I create recipes, but right now we kind of take what we've excelled at, and then we'll take it to a different style.
Okay.
So, we started with the Belgian Blonde and a Belgian Triple, and those were the Belgian beers. But we've done a Belgian Double, and then we have the Belgian Strong Dark Ale that's in the flight here. And so we'll just take styles that we've mastered, and then just take it, what's another style that we can, or a similar beer that we can do, or try something different. Lagers are so popular right now, so we've done so many different lagers. The Maibach, which is in the flight too, that one we all just gonna keep dropping it. We won a GABF medal for that one too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, why not?
But that was the first beer that Bogdan stepped up and was like, this is a style I believe in and I want to try to brew, and we just trust his process.
For sure.
So.
I always like to say when we went award-winning Attic Brewing, I didn't say that one.
Yeah, absolutely. How many beers won awards? You just
We've
named
won 2.
Okay, 2 for 2.
So-
Oh,
I mean,
Well, we were.
That's
now
Pretty
we're-
good for
Yes.
being open.
yeah,
Only about 3
absolutely.
years.
I'm sorry, going more into the awards, like how does that work? Like for those 2 beers, how did that process where you make the beer, do you have to submit it or do you actually go to a festival that's judging? How does it work?
The Great American Beer Festival is the largest commercial brewing competition in the world, and it was really started by the people who were at the forefront of craft beer as we know it today. So that just celebrated its 40th anniversary this past year, and it brings together literally the best beers, not only in the country, but I think you can submit beers from all over. And so, we've been fans and, got to see and taste these beers. And so when we opened in 2020, I think I was the one that was pushing it, hey, let's submit beers. I think our beers are great. So we picked 5 beers, sent them out there, and then, you sit in front of we were sitting in front of the TV, watching the awards, and the categories come up, and we're like, we didn't win. And then the brown ale won, and we were like, oh my God, we should have promoted this.
Right.
So it was unexpected because it's your first year being open. We'd only been open for, I don't know, not even because of COVID, but 7 months. So of course we didn't expect to win anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You just have a belief in your beer, and so you send it out there.
You say you didn't expect to, but if we submit it, I think you expect to win.
Well, it's different because you're getting judged. Your beers are getting judged by the best of the best, the people who are cicerones and know the styles really well, and your beers are getting tasted next to the other. Not every brewery that sends their beer, of course, is sending award-winning beer.
Right.
But they have a belief in their beer, and part of it too is just getting feedback.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you want to know where your beer stands up against other brewers or the judges' palates and all. You want to know to compete next year.
Seems like that. It sounds like that's so hard because we discussed it last week.
If I made a beer, I would submit every one.
You're right.
I wouldn't even care.
And then it's
you're going to tell me or deny me.
Right, and then it's I know these are top beer people, but your palate might just not like my beer.
Absolutely, it's just like gymnastics judging.
May not like my beer.
Yeah, it's all about the flavor.
Just maybe it.
Or today, I don't like IPAs. I've never really liked IPAs. Some IPAs come across and it's like, oh, that's good. I'm glad. That's why I don't not try I try everything because you never know. But like Yoda said, on a specific day, that award-winning judge, his palate may be different, and he may not judge the beer in a way that he traditionally would. Yeah. But that's
right. And then he take that home and he'd be like, "Oh, this is the best beer ever."
That's what you go. That's part of it. Everybody's tasting that guy has the same palate that day when he's tasting all the beers. So he could like Attic today and may not like it as much next year because his palate has changed.
And that's the other part too, is that sometimes the category is filled with a lot of really great beers. Yeah. And so when we got the feedback back this last time, we submitted beers in 2022 and we didn't win any medals. But a few of our beers came back where it was like, this is a really great beer. There was just other beers that were better. Okay. And so had those people not submitted theirs, maybe we would have won a medal. And it is subjective. And to be honest with you, the medals as a business owner don't equal like cash.
Right,
so
right.
At the end of the day, you're like, this is amazing. This is so great.
Yeah.
And it gave us, I think, for being a new brewery,
Confidence.
Right.
gave us a little bit of credibility
Right, yeah.
to say that, you know what, we are making really great beers, and we don't need to go through a 6-month trial period where you know our beers are mediocre, but they're going to get better. It's like, we
already got them. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. So now, are those 2 beers staples? Are they always on tap here? Are they always canned?
I think we're working on that.
Okay.
No.
Not at the moment.
So I need like a stamp on the back of the can as like
Award-winning
beer.
Right.
Yeah.
You have the stamp on it.
There it is.
Well,
There
and
it
for
is.
people who don't know, GABF is in Todd's home state,
it
right?
is, yeah.
Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
It's every, I think it's either late September or early October every year. And it's cool because if you're a craft beer fan and you like beer festivals,
That's
you can go
probably the
out
one to go to.
and you live huge.
I need to become a
There were
judge.
hundreds of beers and breweries that were out there this time.
And you can as a brewery, can you guys submit as many beers as you would like, or
See, the competition,
category?
you're originally limited to 5, and then if they have room, they'll put out another email that says, hey, we have some additional room. If you want to submit more beers, you can. But you have to pay. It's like probably about $150 a beer. With the fees and then the shipping.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
and then
so
how many beers are you guys sending out for that particular style?
Maybe it depends. If it's a big category like the lagers or the IPAs, you might send 12 16-ounce cans.
Okay.
Maybe 8, 10, or 12, and then for smaller categories, maybe it's like 6 cans. It just depends how big the category is. They let you know how many to send.
Yeah,
The
but
categories go through different rounds. Like there's a
so you
first
gotta have
round,
the
and
first-
if
you
you
gotta
make
have
it
the-
past the first round,
Oh,
you go to the
okay.
second round.
Okay.
You make it past that. then you
Now,
go
are
to
they
third.
the same? Just have someone question. I'm sorry. Is it the same judges judging the beer through the rounds? You know, the guys.
Yeah, I don't
No
know.
idea.
sure.
That'd be strange.
I think they might do that because
Should.
I think the judges kind of get like, oh, I'm doing IPAs or I'm doing lagers, and that way they can like be experts in that field
Right.
and not
Yeah,
try to
that's what I
bounce
was
around.
gonna
But
ask
I've
too,
never
yeah.
judged myself, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like during our travels, 2020 was a good year for brewery openings until it wasn't. So
Yeah.
it's
Right.
So we
Everybody in 2019 was like, "We're opening the brewery next year."
Right. Yeah.
And then 2020 came and like, "We're going to open the brewery next year."
So it's always interesting to see, like, was canning always in your thought process, or did that's what you pivoted to canning because of COVID?
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our original plan when we opened is that maybe eventually we'd get to canning, but it's just tap room and we'd get growlers and crowlers filled, but we weren't planning on canning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you hear a lot.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a plan, but
Yeah, we had to
Everybody had to
switch
pivot.
like that
Yeah.
in order to survive.
yeah.
We ordered our canning equipment in March or April of 2020, and so did every other brewery in the country. So we actually didn't get. We have like it's like way back there, but a super small tabletop canning line that came in December of 2020. But from March through December, we were individually filling cans through the draft system
man.
and using a homebrew hand seamer, and we did 75,000 cans one at a time to get beer out and keep the brewery open. But for anybody who knows
the way my
anything about
arthritis
business-
works in my hands, it's like
So our team felt it too. There was a lot of like rotating duties, and
I bet. Sheesh.
like
And
couldn't
is this to
imagine.
order, or y'all? Is this a prep? Like we need to have these 6-packs or these 4-packs ready for tomorrow.
so we
It was
did.
more like it wasn't. Hey, they ordered 30 cases. Now we got to can 30 cases worth of
No,
beer.
this was directly to
Yeah.
customers. So we would get.
That's amazing.
And thank you to every person who ordered beer from us in 2020, because we did a lot. We delivered a lot of beer, but we would get an order in and then have different people who were pulling orders every day, and then they'd be like, I need 4 more 4-packs of Cat Boss. So then they would switch behind the bar, and they'd be like, okay, now we're going to fill the Cat Boss and get it stickered. So people were getting the freshest beer possible.
Absolutely.
But it was so labor intensive, so expensive, but so necessary. Like there was a moment in 2016 where, people were saying, oh, we're going to close our business and just ride out the 21 days. And we had to say, like, do we close or do we try to push through this? And it was like, we literally just got open. Like, I can't close right now. And we gave it everything. We were broke, gave everything we could to like get the brewery open. And then 8 weeks later, they were like, time to close it down.
Right.
So I'm curious. I think I asked this question before to other people in terms of like when 2020 hit and COVID hit, and you pretty much with a new business, was there times like, maybe we shouldn't open this business, but did some of the GABF awards kind of say, you know what, we are on the right track. We just got to try to push through until we see the other side?
Yeah, there was just so many. We had a lot of great things that happened in 2020, and our brewery's mission is shared prosperity. So the day that our brewery closed, we opened our brewery to make lunches for kids who didn't have lunches for their school, and we made over 12,000 lunches out of the tap room in 2020. So there were lots of successes that were happening at the same time. And for us, it was so great to have that community of neighbors around us and to have these people that were ordering our beer, some people who had never heard of us. The GABF medal in 2020 was definitely one of those moments that was just, regardless of, it wasn't like bragging or feeling that, it was just something that excited our team.
Right.
And then shout out to Craig LeBon, who wrote a nice article about us. And so when we canned the brown ale again, it was the only time we've ever had people line up for beer at our brewery.
Wow.
Or brown ale, which is cool.
For a brown ale, yeah.
Right. Sure.
But it was like needed for us in our team as just like, we just need something to keep us going.
Right.
And that little bit of just being able to high five each other and be like, holy crap, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
And we should all feel like we're celebrating this success together. And for our neighbors, like we're in Germantown. And for us to be like, yo, we have some of the best beer in the country being brewed in Germantown.
Yeah.
Like that was really exciting for us too.
I kind of said that when we were on our way here. I said, wait, this is in Germantown? Hold
We are
on.
here.
Well, I'm curious to know a little more about what you were talking about in terms of the shared prosperity. Like, can you talk a little more about what that is and what that is all about?
For sure. Can we taste the beer?
Yes, we can.
Let's do the beer, and then we're going to get into that.
Your story's good. That's how you know your story's good.
I know.
When we forget about the
I
beer.
like sipping. The stories get better the more I drink. So we'll go to the next light one.
Okay.
Since we're talking about GABF. So this is our unresolved Maibach. Maibach is a lager that traditionally would be brewed and then released in the spring. And this was the one that we won a silver medal for in 2021. So yeah, it's going to be a little.
All the Maibachs that was submitted.
Yes, this is the second best Maibach in the country in 2021.
That's crazy. That feels great to say that, right?
I say that a lot. And then people are like, all right, girl.
And I'm going to say it again.
And I'll say it again. Yep. Matter of fact, let me write it down for you.
Yes.
Or it's on the can,
It's on
right?
the can.
Yes, it is.
Don't,
Yes.
I'll be like, don't forget it's on the can. Look.
Yes. Little silver medal there.
We won an award. Did you want to see it? This is dope.
It's good.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So tasty.
And what's,
It is,
and what's the
very.
ABV on this one?
That one's around. Oh, go ahead.
It's about 7.
Seven. About 7%.
Okay.
It's a cat
Oh, yeah,
scratch
this
on
is
here
really good.
somewhere.
Yes.
There is.
Yep.
That one's a little more hidden.
Wait,
But
is
it's
it?
right there. It's hidden, but it's right there. Yep.
Is it? It's,
I can't believe you missed it. You silly.
I
silly.
didn't. I just didn't.
You're a silly human, yo. It's silly
I'm a silly human.
Did we really talk about like Wildcats or like Wildcats made it in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
we did.
when so the shared
'Cause they're cute.
prosperity part started.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tie it all together for you.
Oh, yes.
I've done this before. When we went to open the brewery, we knew that we had a lot of ideas about what we wanted to do. And so Todd and I own the brewery 100%. But in order to do that, we don't come from wealthy families. We didn't have money. We had to figure that part out. So we did a WeFunder, which allowed anybody to invest in our brewery, and they could invest as little as $100. So we have 307 people who jumped on board with that. While we were doing that, it was a 6-month campaign where we were raising money and doing investor meetings and trying to attract people, pouring our beer all over the city. We did a poster that says, he's waiting for you to invest in Attic Brewing Company. And it had the cat, you can grab one of them, but it had the cat peeking over. Oh, it's on the back of the hoodie.
Oh, okay.
The cat peeking over. So it just was so popular that we eventually adopted it as we took to invest in Attic Brewing Company off. So it just says he's waiting for you, and then go and drink. So people just love the cat. And we had 2 cats at home, and we were like, oh, this is easy. We'll just incorporate our own cats that we adore into our marketing. And so it just happened that way. And then if you might not be as familiar with Germantown, but Germantown has a lot of stray cats. So everybody who's in Germantown knows about the Germantown cats, and you're like, everyone has cats on their block. There's always these groups that are doing the, God's work of like catching and getting them spayed and neutered and helping them out. And
mouse population must be down, no? No.
we've rehomed 5 cats since the brewery's been open. It's
The
just like
mouse
cats are everywhere.
I mean, the rat population, maybe not, but the mouse.
But that's how that kind of ties in. And so the cats are just, people just like them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
You kind of have
cats.
to have something unique, and
That stands
you
out.
can go the direction. Marketing, doing labels for cans is just as challenging as everything else. And we had to do it so quickly. We didn't have plans for canning, and so a lot of the can art, both the ones there, Todd did.
When y'all were doing the manual canning, did they have labels on them?
They had fun labels, which were the paper printout labels from Staples. And then when the summer came and they started like falling apart on the cans, we were like, we did a lot of research in labels. So these came later, and we had a couple of ideas, and Todd's very talented with graphic design, so he was able to do a lot of them.
Nice.
But then we partner with a lot of local artists, and that's part of the shared prosperity too, is just really collaboration and partnership with as many people as we can. So relationships like food trucks, the musicians that play here, the comedy that we do. We pay our employees above living wages. We do a series of give back beers. I think we've done 6 or 7 of them now, raised over $25,000 that go to organizations making big impacts mostly in our neighborhood. And so we do a lot of collaborations with those. We did a cool one with Rasheed Wallace and gave money back to his alma mater, Simon Gratz High School.
Nice.
We recently did one with
I probably called technical foul. No.
Breath of Change is one that we do every year. So that's the thing. It's just like we're all in this together, and Germantown is a community that has a lot of history, and we just want to make sure that
There's a lot of black people out here too.
And I'll tell you, we are probably one of the most diverse tap rooms in the entire country. That it feels very much like it belongs here, and we worked for 2.5 years before the tap room opened, going out into Germantown and pouring beer at lots of neighborhood events to just say, you've never had craft beer here, taste it. And we're Todd and Laura, and we own the brewery, and we're going to open here. So that when we did open, people were like, oh, we met them. Oh, we had their beer. Like, we know them.
That's nice.
And felt very comfortable coming here. And
I know this is the first brewery. This is probably the first brewery that I ever came into where there was a black woman that I spoke with that said she worked here. And so I'm like, wow, well, good to see you. Because it's rare. It's rare.
She's amazing. Shout out to East Teas and More. She owns her own company too.
She owns her own company too?
Yeah, East Teas and More. She's great.
Is that
she does like custom apparel.
Okay, I was like t-shirts or drinking tea.
Oh, because I thought she said cheese and more.
Cheese and more. I can get you a soft pretzel.
I thought charcuterie.
Yeah, we met her. She's nice.
Yeah,
she came back and spoke.
This is delicious.
It is. It's very good.
Well, it's award winning.
Duh.
Cheers to that.
Why wouldn't it be good?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you. I'm going to tell stories, but so he was in the tap room. I think he's gone now. We have Tyrone, who we lovingly call our number one fan, and we had a cool thing going before the pandemic. People showed up and were excited about a new brewery. And then the pandemic just took it all down to zero. And we couldn't open the tap room, but we could fill growlers. We didn't have cans or whatever, so we could just fill growlers. And so we kind of for a week or two, just told the team, you guys, we're going to, I think they got paid. I'm pretty sure we still paid them. But we were like, you stay home. We don't know what's happening with the pandemic. But we're going to...
They're our neighbors.
I know, but what's happening? And I look so rude, like
No.
That was funny.
Oh my God.
Don't you see a mic in my head? I'm doing something.
I didn't mean it. I meant they're up there. They're out the other door.
That is not what it looked like, Laura.
I did.
Did not look like that.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Tyrone. That's what I was talking
Tyrone,
about.
yeah.
So anyway, we're selling growlers, and Tyrone comes through the door, and we had a Belgian triple on, and he's like, I want a growler, the Belgian triple. And I was like, Todd, it's $25. I feel kind of bad charging him $25. And he was like, I don't know. You can see the price. I guess he's fine with it.
Right.
He has been here every single day.
Yes.
So shout out to
Since then,
Tyrone.
the only time he wasn't here, he was in the hospital. And when he wasn't here, I called him and was like, where are you?
Right.
Like, are you okay?
Right. Yeah.
And he's a retired he's on medical leave, Philadelphia police officer. And it was just he cares about us so much, and we care about him so much. And
Right.
it was like, okay, this is what this was supposed
Right,
to be
right.
like.
That's the community.
Yes.
Now, I had a question. I don't know. It might tie in terms of the shared prosperity, but was Germantown always the location you wanted to put the brewery in? I wanted to be here.
Yeah, we thought about it because we lived in Germantown most of the time
Right.
here in Philadelphia. But we also lived in Conshohock, and we've lived down in Delco. And yeah, we were talking about it, and the neighborhood that we really enjoyed the most is living in Germantown.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's a cool neighborhood. There's a really good sense of community that's here. We felt that this would be a good spot for it. We also looked at the map too and noticed that there's not a lot of breweries in this area, so we thought that was also a plus. But yeah, the main reason is just because we really like Germantown and felt this would be a good spot for it. So
That's good.
Right, because a lot of times, I saw y'all brought a lot of things that are personal to you and passionate about yourself into the brewery, and sometimes, most of the time, that is where you find success in terms of something that you're really passionate about, in terms of the Attic, the cats, the town, the place you want to be, and I think that's where it really shows into the beer that you present to the community as well. That's award winning. So I applaud you for that as well. Thank you. That's pretty awesome.
Can we try another one of these beers?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Wait a minute, I feel bad because Laura has not drank all hers, and I think I drink every one of
I
mine.
sip mine, but they will all be finished before we are done.
Yeah, I'm like, why you worried about Laura? She
Like, I don't know if I should be. Like, I might start slurring, asking questions.
Go ahead and do your thing, right?
The
That's what we're here
tables will
for.
turn. What got you into craft beer? What was the first beer that
He's gonna be like, I don't even know.
Laura asks me these questions.
And all of a sudden you're gonna be crying, telling me all your trauma.
I don't know, but my keys teacher's making me angry.
No.
What we going for next?
Which one is next?
So we have a stout and a Belgian strong dark ale.
It don't matter.
Maybe the
Either
stout
one.
because
Let's
the
do the
strong
stout.
dark
Let's do
ale
it.
is strong.
All right.
Yes, we'll do this one.
And it's called Lovebird.
That's the Lovebird.
Lovebird.
Yeah, Lovebird.
Yeah, Lovebird.
Who named this?
So that's another kind of fun story. We so this is an oatmeal stout. It's actually I think it's a little bit on the drier side, but I think that's kind of nice in a way. And it's a light ABV. I think it's only 4.6%.
Really? Wow.
So it's good. It has that sort of oat chewiness kind of on the back end
It
of
definitely is Odie.
Yeah.
Chewy.
Is that a word?
Chewy? Odie?
Yeah,
Odie. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean Odie.
Like the guy
But,
from the Heathcliff. Never mind.
We'll go with it.
Garfield.
But yeah, this one. We brewed this one for a friend's wedding. That's where the name came from. Yeah, so before we got the brewery open, it was a really good long-term friend of ours who was a park ranger at Valley Forge, was getting married, and a bunch of us got together as friends, homebrewers, to brew up this beer for
Nice.
him. And he's a big dark beer fan, so it was like, oh, oatmeal stout would be perfect. So we created this beer, and we're trying to figure out what to call it. I think Laura came up with the name, Lovebird.
Makes sense.
Lovebirds,
Get married. Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Then
Was
we
it presented
decided to
at the
keep name.
wedding as Lovebird?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We did a different. This one doesn't have like an official label yet, so we have some generic labels that we use, and it just still has a sticker on it. So it doesn't have a formal label yet, but we did a label specific, just as a gift to them.
What's the process of getting a formal label? How does a beer become a formal label beer?
We didn't talk about it, but Todd still works a full-time job, so as soon as he has more time to commit to the brewery, then we'll get more labels. Or we do work with artists, but we have an idea for this Lovebird label that's going to be cool.
So it's just a time thing.
Yeah, it's just.
It's going to be a bird with a cat head.
Yeah, for sure. Todd, what do you do?
I still work for the National Park Service.
Okay.
Park ranger down at Independence National Historical Park.
Okay. Right in Center City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was just down there.
Liberty Bell, Independence.
As I was too.
I did a mystery picnic in the summertime, and they took me through the Liberty
nice.
Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Betsy Ross house and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot of history in Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen. American history.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, one thing I was going to say is that I like that when we asked where the titles came from of these beers and like the
stories behind it.
The pictures is always a story.
Yep, for sure.
Unresolved has a fun story behind that too.
Well, we want to hear it too.
So
When
when this beer was brewed up, we were having a really hard time just figuring out what to call it. So it sat in the tank for probably 2 or 3 weeks before we could create a name for it.
Perfect name.
Like I had my ideas, Laura had ideas, our brewer had all these ideas. None of us liked any of each other's ideas. It's like, it's unresolved.
There it is.
So technically, it's still unresolved.
I don't know the name of the beer. There's no name to this beer.
This
Right.
beer still has no name.
Did y'all present this to the award as unresolved?
We
It
did.
was already
Yeah,
named that?
yep.
Yo, that is great.
Yes.
Just go with what matters.
Yeah.
Right.
What means the most to
I'm
you
curious,
guys.
what was your name? What was your name?
We have different formulas for naming beers.
All three of us have different ideas.
Different ideas,
It's
and
funny.
it's part of like, I'll call it the tchotchkiness of being Attic Brewing is that we don't have to live in a box. We can do whatever you want because
Right.
when you go into someone's attic,
All right,
there's like
everything.
shit from
Everything everywhere.
Yeah. But we have different opinions on how things work, and sometimes we have like the cat theme, and sometimes for me it gets a little too heavy in the cat themes, and I'm like, guys, we're gonna be around for 25 years. Like, we can't keep naming every beer something that literally is cat because we're gonna run out of names, and we're not Cat Brewing Company. We have to change. So
Like you said, attic, you can have anything's an attic.
Right.
There's photographs, there's things that you had in your past.
Y'all don't have anything
Old
called
magazines.
a dusty box or something like that.
I don't want anything called Dusty Box.
no. Nobody wants to drink a beer that's called Dusty. That's a business decision. Nobody wants to drink
That's
a beer
bad
called
marketing.
Dusty.
That's you make a beer called Dusty
Yeah.
Box.
I know.
And see how many people drink it. It'd be you and you.
And everybody else that love Dusty Box.
Maybe antique box.
Not
Dusty Antique.
No, just
No,
antique.
Maybe just Dusty
Get
Antique.
Dusty out of there, man. Like, I wouldn't even drink Dusty Rhodes beer. Like, don't do Dusty.
You wouldn't drink Dusty Rose beer? You got a problem.
No, I'm not. Dusty Rose got to change the name of his beer before he get me to drink some Dusty. Give me 2 of them Dusties.
Yes.
At least they got good nicknames, though.
I'm curious because since you did a lot of home brewing and stuff like that before you actually opened, like how many recipes did you have before you actually opened?
I gotta add on to that question.
We have
when you
I have like a notebook that's completely full of recipes. So there's probably like, I don't even know,
Maybe 50.
50, 60 different recipes
But-
in there. But
Some of them the brown ale had been brewed probably close to 40 times before the brewery opened.
Okay,
The
okay.
cream ale had probably been brewed.
I love a good cream.
Is it like things that you guys liked that you made successfully that keeps getting it rebrewed, or is
Yeah,
it like
just-
just hits with your friends and things? How does it?
yeah, it's kind of a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, we kind of figure out what people liked, but we also found that style that we were really interested in. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, I'm going to perfect that. And
Gotcha.
Rebrew it over and over until we.
You're like,
make it
more
little
body.
tweaks.
Oh, more happiness. Oh, I'm going to try this amount at this time. And
More
you just
body
keep,
and happiness.
Yeah, you just keep tweaking the recipe until you
Love
get it there.
I can see in your notebook it says happiness in there.
I think she said happy.
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 I like happy. I like happy.
Happiness.
Midwestern accent.
I'm
Yeah, that's what it is. That's
stick with happy.
happy.
I definitely heard happy twice.
Now it's kind of funny because given your both history type buffs, I guess background and stuff like that, and we've had like Lost Loggers on our podcast before, like going back and trying to, and being in Philadelphia, do you go back and try to search in terms of beers that are not made currently and bring them back?
And sidebar, there is a beer history tour right around the corner from where you work at Ben Franklin's graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, right in that little cemetery where he's at. There's a beer tour in there.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Anyway,
Cheers.
I'm gonna check that out.
We've done. I don't do it anymore, but Todd still does 18th century reenacting, and we have a friend of ours, Frank, who has a setup for 18th century brewing, and so we've gone and brewed with him on an 18th century brewing system. But I will say, from what we've tasted from that, it's, I would say that a small batch that people would sample
Will
to
be okay.
learn about it is, but
Better
to
than-
brew those beers now, it's just not going to taste the way that people want it to.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, you
it's
don't
not
want
really
like
you
a
don't
all
want-
molasses beer
Yeah,
with
sorghum
spruce in it.
and
Yeah.
sorghum.
I might want that. It depends. You never know.
You're just a beer searcher.
Well,
You're
you know,
a beer
'cause
hunter.
something people probably didn't want to drink something that tastes like pine cones at one point, but they was like, you know what?
They did it.
That's,
Yeah, that's true.
They
I
didn't
feel like
have
that's an
a lot of
1800
hops, so they
flavor
tried
right
to-
there.
true.
Pine cones is an
a
1800
lot of
flavor.
molasses. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
There's some Carolyn, is that what it's called, in Dayton, Ohio, that does the 17th or 18th century brewing?
They're 19th century.
Oh,
or
19th century.
1800s. Yeah.
19th century brewing.
I don't think they do well, I'm not going to badmouth them.
Right.
If you go there, their beers are all sour.
But I think it's more interesting to see it, but I think that the technology that came from the Industrial Revolution has really done a great service to
the
beer,
beer industry,
and
yeah.
we are lucky to be alive and being able to
Right.
Right.
produce these great beers.
Yes,
that
instead of
exist
pine cone
today.
infused
Yes.
beers. Yes.
One of my goals, though, is I want to research more and find some of those historical styles, like especially pre-prohibition and
Yeah.
like early 1900s, late 1800s, and find
You
some cool recipes to brew.
You should check out Lost Loggers. They do a lot of research. they do a lot of research on things.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
It's crazy. We were shocked.
Yeah, y'all two being history buffs
Yeah.
and beer buffs with Lost Loggers would be right up y'all alley
Yes.
for sure.
Where is
Definitely
that?
gonna check that out.
They're based in D.C.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We've got family in Arlington, Virginia, so
Yep.
we'll definitely check it out.
Yes, and they are. You'll
But
be
they'll
amazed.
go anywhere. Like he does collaborations with.
It's like a podcast.
He-
or a,
No, he's
not
like a
He's
like
a
he's
beer
like He's like a
historian.
beer
Oh,
historian.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a
Yes.
literal beer
Yes.
historian.
Reach
and
out,
he likes
let's
to
do it.
recreate. He likes to recreate beers from the 1800s and 70s. Whenever beer he could find
Yeah,
from
that's awesome.
100 years or more. he
Especially if it's
tries.
in that area. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he
So
likes to
he'll-
collab with if he collab with you guys, he would want to probably talk to that Benjamin Franklin graveyard guy and you and
Right,
make a
right.
beer from that.
Yep.
The brown ale that we brew is called Bloodhound Brown Ale because it's named after the British light infantry, and Todd does reenacting with that group. But when we brewed that beer, we would, bring 5 gallons in a wooden cask out to the event.
Try to be as traditional as possible.
Right, right.
Yeah. With this modern beer.
Yeah, a little bit. But yes, like a kind of like a nod that it's a British style beer. And
Right.
Well, we've had somebody actually on from that was from the UK. So, what is your thoughts on warm beer and cast and all that stuff like
Right.
that?
I think for the style,
That beer
It
would
could
be
work,
amazing.
yeah.
Okay.
We just went to the Yards Real Ale Festival for the first time ever, and I really enjoyed myself.
Okay.
To where I was like, I think it's time to go to bed. It's 7 o'clock, Laura. I'm like, this is what happens when you start drinking at noon.
Yep.
Because I don't know if I've ever had warm beer, but when she said it, I was like, I'll try it.
I would try it.
I mean, I probably had
It's-
warm
it's-
beer,
I
but
think
it's
warm
still
and
like a
like this temperature.
Right.
It's not really warm,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah, they're not putting
served around
ambient.
like 50
Okay.
degrees, something like that.
Right, okay.
So it ain't like you drinking coffee or something.
Right.
yeah,
It
don't
have
leave
a
them
heat-
in
it don't have
your
heat to
hot
it.
trunk and then
Oh,
open
right.
it and be like,
Warm
oh,
beer.
British.
British warm beer.
That ain't a stout. That's just coffee.
That's why my beer was sitting in the car. No, I'm joking.
I was trying. Now to piggyback off, he had asked you a question about your notebook. What you guys have? You said how many taps right now? 20? 14?
14.
Taps, and then
they got
for
some
us
kegs.
sampling today, we have some beers that are kegged and canned already that we just haven't released
Gotcha,
yet. So we probably
gotcha.
have about 20 beers right now.
So what keeps a beer on the tap, and then what brings a new beer to the forefront for you guys?
That's something we're trying to kind of figure out right now. Because we have brewed probably 50 different styles just through Attic itself.
Yeah.
And which is great, which means we have a big inventory to choose from whenever we want to brew
Right.
something. But
Sure.
we're also realizing that we need to probably get some core beers to just like really market those and try to promote them. So like the brown ale, for example, is super popular, and this past year we only brewed it once, and that's one that we could.
So you're saying that when people come in, they say, "Where's that brown ale?"
That's what you
guys
want.
are like,
we gotta wait a couple more.
Yeah. See you in September 2023. Yeah.
Part of it is so we are still a super small brewery. We have a 10-barrel brew house. We brew like 1.5 to 2 times a week, which is not a lot. And we have to be very cost conscious when we are making decisions about what we brew.
Yes.
And so we try to brew the freshest beer that we can, but we work through yeast strains in a strategic way. And the brown ale just happens to be the yeast strain that we don't use for a lot of beers. And so it's kind of like we can either bring in a yeast strain and brew 12 beers with it, or we can bring in
and do one brown ale.
And then we usually try to do it a couple times. And this time we tried to brew the brown ale twice, and then the yeast wasn't viable to pitch again. And it's just something that happened. There's a lot of construction going on around the brewery. So back in September, they were doing construction. They were dropping the phase of the power, and so that cut off our glycol system. And so we had to dump some beer because the tank got too hot. Like, we're just small and working through the struggles of being a return.
I mean, y'all are fairly new too, so
we're going to be 3 in January.
Yeah,
little toddler brewery.
You guys are new.
Solid foods now.
Yes. So that's part of it, and like we really jumped on the creativity of brewing the beer, and I think during the pandemic, creating new beers was probably something that kept us motivated with the brewery. But then when people are like, "Oh, when are you bringing back that beer?" And we're like, "Oh my god, like that beer will probably not come back." It was great, I know, but we have 11 hazy IPAs that we brew. We can't brew 11 hazy IPAs. So this year we pulled it back a little bit. But yeah, our customers dictate it, and so everyone has their favorite, and
for sure.
we're constantly like trying to brew everyone's favorite. But we need y'all to come out and buy beer so we can keep like getting new ones on and rotate it faster. It's been a little bit of a slow tap room for the past few months. Come out, drink some beer.
There you go. Come on.
Why do you think that is, though?
You know,
can't figure it out.
This year, 2022 has been the hardest year for us.
Post-COVID thing. I don't know. It's just
I think a lot of people did a lot of traveling in 2022. Yeah. People who had saved up and hadn't taken a vacation. I was in Las Vegas over the summer, and I called up Todd and was like, if we had a tap room in Vegas, we would be killing it right now. Because people were just they'd thrown their money away. There weren't enough restaurants open.
I know. I went this summer too, and it was crazy.
Lines, reservations.
Yep.
Germantown is not a tourist vacation spot, which we've learned.
But Philadelphia is. And it's only an Uber or Lyft or cab ride to get from Independence Mall to Germantown.
It's a 10-minute train ride, and there's 6 regional rail lines. 10 minutes.
We're working on that. Yeah. It's hard to get people to make the trip.
Yes.
Yeah, I always wonder because I don't run a business, so I'm like wondering like what do you do for that to take place, like because it's of course people are coming to Philadelphia because of.
But Germantown is like a community. It's like you said, people don't. It's not a tourist attraction.
But
most of the people you see in Germantown live here.
Yeah, we don't have the bars and restaurants that you see in Fishtown or even like West Philly even. Like we're just kind of getting there. And
is it a lot of eateries around here? I don't know.
No, nothing.
Okay,
no.
See, that's another thing.
There's a lot of like takeout
spots.
Right.
Yeah.
No major restaurants there.
We operate as the local bar, and that's part of like we kind of balance between us making this award-winning beer, but if somebody comes in and they want a margarita, we're making them a margarita. And for us, that was what it was supposed to be. Is like we want this to be a community space, and people were so grateful. Like I've lived here for 40 years and never had anywhere that I could go to, and so they're like, "Thank you for being here," and having live music and free live comedy and like cool things going on, and just having like. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah. Right,
and then you didn't get to see, but we will take you out there. We have an 8,000 square foot outdoor beer garden.
Oh,
so there's 250 seats out there. So when the weather
Right on the side of the wall.
Right through there.
Well, we did the whole. Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's another thing. When the weather is nice, it's a perfect place
Yeah.
for people to bring their kids, their
Right.
dogs, and there's ping pong tables, outdoor games. It's like a beautiful space. But people are like, there's never been anything like that here in Germantown, and so it's just like a beautiful space. But
And now you got to get people used to, like, there are things to do here. This
Right.
this brewery is a thing to
Right.
do here
Right.
now.
Right.
You don't have to go to Center City or go to West Philly to enjoy Philadelphia. now.
Yeah.
You can stay home.
Right. And you share the building with a barbecue spot as well?
Yep, Deke's Barbecue is next door, so you can get food from there and bring it in. And then we do rotating food trucks, so there's lots of food options. I don't know if we should say it or not, but we will have a kitchen coming soon. that we're
Okay,
adding
there
on.
we go.
Speak that
We're
into
here first. We're here first. So we have a kitchen that's
Exclusive.
coming soon.
Nice. What kind of food are you guys planning on serving?
We're not going to say right now.
Okay,
All right.
that's fine.
We are testing the menu right now.
still figuring it out.
I would love
Just
to
no
be-
barbecue.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I would love to be a tester of the food when you guys are trying to figure out what kind of food.
We'll make
fare.
sure we bring you guys up
Please,
for it. Yeah.
don't say that like me. If they don't want to come, that's fine. I have a car. I can drive myself.
Sounds good.
I just want to be a part of the food.
I know.
I'll
I'm
be a
ready to
part-
taste this other beer. Sorry, y'all.
All right. What's the next last one?
This one is Petrucci.
Oh, I
Petrucci.
can't spell for shit.
Petrucci, which is a Belgian strong dark ale.
Is this the dark ale? Is this the one you?
This is the strongest beer we have on tap right
Yo,
now.
that is
What's the
delicious.
ABV?
I want to say ABV on this.
It's a 10.1%.
Yep,
Tastes like that.
it tastes like it. Yep.
It's so good.
No, but I love Belgian strong.
Now I'm
This
drinking.
This is
Yeah, this is the first time we brewed this style.
That
Came
is
out
good.
super good. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But,
That is delicious.
it's also not like a super quick turnover beer. But when people get it, yeah, they love it.
Yeah, like if somebody came in and wanted like something brown on the rocks, like just a regular spirit, I'd be like, hold on, try this first
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
and see how you like that, and let me know.
That's really what we learned. We have really worked hard to be aware of our community and our customers. And so that is it's really great to have people come in who have different tastes in beer, that it's not coming in and just ordering IPAs. And like I said, Tyrone came in, his beer was a Belgian triple.
Right.
And we were $25 a growler. It might even be more than that now. But it gave us excitement that people were into different beer styles and that we weren't going to have to be a craft brewery that only brewed IPAs.
Yes. Please don't.
And then
Please don't.
just also learning about
do
like
that.
the other people's experiences with alcohol.
Right.
And so you get people who come in who are like, oh, I want a Heineken. You're like, well, we brew our own beer here, but if that's what you like, this is what we have
Yes.
that's similar to it.
I was just about to say,
And
when you said pour this over some ice, this is brown.
Yeah.
That's Crown. That's Hennessy. That's
Right. That's what I was saying. If somebody comes in and
whatever
orders,
black people drink at the bar,
right?
That's what this.
But that's
shit
what I'm
is.
saying. If
Yeah,
somebody
that's
comes
the
in and
equivalent.
orders an actual spirit, a brown spirit, I'd be like, well, would you like to try this beer
Because
first?
we are a brewery.
We're a brewery.
Right.
Try this and see how you like it.
Yes. And our whole team, customer service is like a very high priority for us. And knowing that we're in a neighborhood that never had a craft brewery before, every person that works here is coached that if somebody comes in and they want to sample all 14 beers, then you say, let's step down the bar and you sample them and you talk about like, this is
one.
what it is. And if at the
Nice.
end they taste 14 beers and they're like, I'd like a margarita, then you're
Right.
like, you
Hey,
just drink what you like.
yeah,
That's
right,
totally
right.
fine.
Still drinking.
But like
Yep.
learning about it and learning about like, what
And
do
then
you
the next time
normally
they may
like to
come
drink?
in and drink something, or if you have like, if they say, like you said, hey, drink this brown ale first, it may be something like the spirits you like. Now they come back and they want to try.
A different beer.
right,
Or
even
they'll
with
come
that
in and they're
process.
like, oh, I like the Belgian triple. You don't have that one on. And they're like, oh, but we have something.
Right.
This is the
All you
one that
got
we
to do
have
is
now.
get us in the
Man,
door.
even with that
Yeah.
process, even if they didn't like any other beers, they can say, yo, I went to this place and I had these beers. Like, because they made us know somebody that's
Right.
in the beers, and they be like, yo, this place got some.
And
some
even if they
decent
14
beers.
beers on tap.
Yeah.
and they'll sell you a margarita if you don't,
Right.
if
Yeah.
you can't find
That
a beer.
friend,
Right.
And that friend that drinks the margaritas is coming back with the
Yeah.
person that drinks the beer.
Yeah.
And then also, like you said, We have 14 taps, and if you say I don't know anything about beer, a beer tender
Let's
on
talk
staff
about it.
will take you through every beer. So now I just tasted I just had an education in an hour, 2 hours, however long I was here, and I will come back because they took the time to give me. It's not even about the beer at this point.
It's
about the
one is
camaraderie
crazy.
in the community.
We've had a slow and steady growth, but it is such like a deep,
more rewarding.
We really can't thank the support that we've gotten in Germantown is like sometimes overwhelming. Like we're so grateful, but it is that like you meet someone and we would be like, oh, I own Attic Brewing Company, and they're like, oh, my cousin goes there and I haven't gone yet, but I know where it is. And, or I've been there, I had such a great time. My sister had a birthday party or whatever.
Or that person that lives 3 blocks away is like, I never heard of you.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you're like, come down. It's about teaching and learning,
It is.
and that's part of it. Is like we're grateful for the opportunity to diversify beer past what it normally is, like has been, and to just continue to invite people to collaborate and try beers and be a part of our whole process. Like we're going to be here for a long time, and very excited about the community that we have here and every great thing that's going to happen. So.
Right. I'm curious to know, do you have like being in a community that may not know a lot about craft beer, do you have like educational nights in terms of like
Craft Beer Day.
like craft beer flights? You go and
Flight
learn more about education. Like, well,
Learn more about
this is
beer
a Belgian
day.
triple. Like, I don't know what a
Belgian
Belgian triple is at
triple
all.
day.
Like, do you have those type of things?
We do.
Okay.
So we partner with, there's a great organization called Mount Airy Learning Tree that really focuses on peer learning, like neighbors teaching neighbors. And so we've worked with them since before the tap room opened to offer, we call it Beer 101, and we've hosted that class probably over 20 times. So you come out, Todd and I are the ones teaching it. You get a tour of the brewery. You sample 8 beers, get a little history of whatever beers we have on. We kind of incorporate that into it. So I think January and March we're going to have classes. January will be the Beer 101, but March we're doing something really cool, which is just focused on lagers. So if you're a lager, it's called Lager Lover. So if you like lagers, we're going to do some of our lagers. We'll probably have to bring in some guest lagers because we want to fill the class and talk about things. But we do. And
how do you sign up for this?
So if you go, I don't think that the class is active for you to sign up quite yet, but we'll link it on our website when it is active.
But as of right now, you have a January one and then a lager one in March.
Yep. Okay. So it'll be the 3rd Tuesday in January, and I think it's the 3rd Tuesday in March.
Okay.
And so you come in the tap room and you get some snacks, and I'm not sure where we're going to host it. We've hosted it in different spots, but you get a tour of the brewery, and it's really super in-depth. Attic Brewing Company, you taste beers, and it's usually Todd and I. Every time it's been Todd and I.
Okay.
Yay, hang out with us. Do. That's what it feels like sometimes. But a great opportunity to learn about beer, but our tap room honestly is so unpretentious and so welcoming. And you mentioned the people you see behind the bar, they look like they're regular everyday people,
right.
And they're super friendly. And if you have questions, we want you to ask questions and sample beers and hang out.
I think that's a good thing, being here. Like you said, the community doesn't necessarily know about craft beer, so they're learning about it. You can't have a beer tender in here with an attitude, or a beer tender that's tired of serving a questionable, a person with a lot of questions, because everybody's coming in here with questions. It's not.
Right.
I think it's going to take you guys a while to have the community come in here and just oh, I want a Belgian triple, or I want the lager that you got. What's the newest IPA that's on tap? I want that. It's going to take some education, and y'all are doing the right process. But the beer tenders have to follow your guys' vision at all times, because one bad experience in the tap room, they go home and 1,000 people know tomorrow that Attic wasn't right to them.
Right.
So you can't miss it. You can't miss a step. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Especially when you want the people around here to support.
I mean, one thing I can say is that
it seems like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in here, it's welcoming. I mean, the decor. I noticed all the pictures on the wall on the back.
Who said that?
That's it. I did.
He's so fancy. Are you French?
Excuse me. Give him a minute. Give him a minute.
French or British?
Okay, there we are.
You're done.
Like I noticed the pictures on the wall of different faces. Like it just says community all over it. The
Yeah.
flag, the pride flag, community all over it. I mean, you walk in, everybody's welcome.
Yep,
Yeah.
it ain't nobody we rejecting out here.
Yep.
For sure.
That's the idea. And almost our entire team lives in Germantown.
Nice.
Which is also special because when you come here, you're getting that authentic feel of the neighborhood.
Right.
We are one of the largest employers of people in Germantown, and for a neighborhood that has some of the highest concentration of deep poverty, like
Right.
so proud of that. And us expanding and having the kitchen and this
gonna
project
bring
is just
more.
going to
Right.
allow us to have
Right.
And
like
then you
hire
guys
more
saying
people.
that you pay a more above the living wage, like
Yeah.
people want to work here now.
Yeah.
Like I would want to work here if I lived here.
I know it's just like I don't like the idea of like tooting our own horn, but
Too, girl.
okay.
that's fair.
Well, we do
That's
a lot
fair.
of special things. But that's not really why we're in it for every day. And honest, we can walk home from here. Like we live close by
really?
here now.
Nice.
We don't live in the attic apartment anymore, but we live close by.
You was really loyal, y'all would have stayed.
The landlords came through. They were like, "This is our apartment." I was like, "Do not use the brewery to sell your attic apartment for rent. Do not."
Right, they're gonna raise that rent up. You know, Attic Brewing.
Yeah, it looks the same.
Great idea. Start here.
Great idea.
I have
Start
tons
here.
of stories. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. So we lived on the 300 block of West Duval Street here in Germantown. Back in 2005, the owners of Love City, I don't know if they want me to say it, but the owners of Love City live on Duval Street in Germantown. The brewer for Human Robot lived on the Duval Street.
What?
The brewer from Trouble's End lives on Duval Street.
Why?
One of the Tired Hands.
Tired
Brewers.
Hand Brewers
Oh my
lives in the same
God.
house that we used to live in.
I guess great idea.
Was this all at the same time?
No, they all after we left.
We left, and we left some vibes behind.
Yeah,
we
that
see.
brewery vibes, that fermentation, that smell. It was
All that spill, y'all. Everybody.
all the drip.
Yeah, I guess so. It's so crazy.
That
Where I
is
was like, yeah,
weird.
we lived on that block
Yo, how
15
s-
years ago.
How strange is that?
So weird. So we
you don't
need to
think
get that
5,
name
6 brewers?
that street
Yes,
renamed.
it's a historic
Brewers.
site.
Yes.
That's a historic
Brewer's
site.
Ave or something.
Yeah, Brewer's Edge Lane.
Yes. So there's something deep going on
Yeah, that is
on that
crazy.
street. But
Wow.
so cool. And
That's pretty.
Yeah.
That is cool though. That
I
is
think Lil Duval, he liked beer.
really. What?
Maybe.
Now, it's like some breweries anyway, they like to go for like, oh, we want to be known for our hazies, or we want to known for our lagers and stuff like that. Or do you have something like the brown ale, or do you just want to be known for like just good beer?
I think that's something we're trying
Good
to
service.
figure out. Yeah, but right now we're kind of proud of our diverse tap list because we get so many different people that come through, and having something for everybody. Is
yeah, you
really
feel comfortable in
important.
that. Yeah.
Right.
I think most of the people that work here all agree that we don't want to be a brewery that's heavy with IPAs.
Please
We're
don't.
proud of the fact that we have maybe 4 IPAs on tap right now. So
You could probably do less.
probably, and I think at one point a couple months ago we only had like 2.
My man.
It's cool.
2 out of 14. Dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's less than 20%. That's great.
At the moment, yeah, we don't. I mean, the brown ale is one that we're going to definitely start.
That's really good.
Pushing, but yeah, we're just kind of proud that we can brew many different styles.
Everything is
very
in the
well.
attic.
Yeah.
I think our goal when we opened was to be one of the best breweries in Philly. That is still our goal, and I think it's through us pushing in many different directions with the quality and the types of beers that we brew, but also the service and the atmosphere and everything about the brewery too.
Yeah.
So we just want it that whether you live in Philly or people come to Philly and they're like, oh, I want to check out a brewery, where should I go?
Right.
We just want people to be like, you have to check out Attic Brewing Company.
Right.
Absolutely.
And when we would travel around, there were a few breweries that were like that. And we had just memorable experiences in them. And I'll just say, like, those things stuck with us.
Right.
And that's what we want to have here. And because of where we're located, we see the opportunity through craft beer tourism and the enthusiasm around craft beer to just get people to come to Germantown and then help support other businesses that are here too. Where it's like you come here because you're checking out breweries, but like rent a bike from here and go check out, like have lunch at this place or, you know, go check out another spot. And we have like really cool businesses that are here already, but like we need some more. But that's our long-term vision. It's just to be, when people talk about the best breweries in Philly, like we're on there from like how we treat our team. Like I said, the whole package behind it.
I got an idea. You guys know about Beer Discovery. Y'all should be on Beer Discovery. But also, y'all should have a Germantown Discovery where all the stuff that's going on in Germantown can be known and y'all could be the hub of that. Like you said, get a bike and take a bike ride to that eatery. Then after you get done eating, come to the brewery and have a beer. Or go over, I don't fucking know, to the post office, like whatever. But what Beer Discovery is like, it's a hub for all the craft beer in the country. If you want to be a part of it, you can be a part of it. And because y'all keep saying, it seems like the theme, Philly is a tourist attraction city, but Germantown not so much. How can we make Germantown a tourist attraction or part of the Philly tourist attraction experience? And it seems like Attic is a tourist attraction at the moment, it's becoming that. And y'all want to do more for the community, so make this the Germantown hub. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
What you say?
A bunch of people to come up and spend a day in Germantown.
Yes, why not?
Check
Like
out
we're here,
cool
we're in
stuff.
Philly for 5 days. One of the days we want to do Germantown, Attic Brewing, that eatery. We want to ride bikes and have a good time.
And I know Laura doesn't want to like toot her own horn and stuff like that. But the fact that you're award winner, it could be not just one of the best breweries in Philadelphia, but the country. Like, hey,
how many got 2 in a row? Y'all got back to backs.
Like
That's like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson get back to backs.
You know, I grew up with the 96 Bulls.
Exactly why I said Michael Jordan.
Luke Longley.
I ain't never met nobody. Luke Longley was your favorite player.
Says no one.
that's your first.
The whole uniform.
Oh my God. Says no one. That is the first.
Countries like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
Luke Longley, where are you?
Luke.
Right, even Tony Kukoc is a stretch. But
That was my sister. That was her player.
That is crazy.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
like
my
it.
gosh.
I ain't mad at that.
I don't know what was happening. I was
I'm
young.
not mad.
Hey, 96 was a great year for them.
Oh my God.
96 was a great year.
Right. I'm not mad at you for that. I mean,
Just confused a little
just
bit.
a little confused.
a little bit
I
confused.
mean, he is.
Todd's up to his tricks.
Yup. Your wife warned
told you,
us.
I told him. I said, no, I'm just going to tell you,
He
Todd
just
did
got up and walked away.
just one more.
back with
Just
a beer.
one more. He's just one more person.
Well, that's actually good because I actually had this one on the podcast actually not too long ago.
Okay.
It is an IPA. I don't know if you guys want to break open an IPA.
They can.
I mean, we'll drink it.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know what.
It's a hazy
But it's a great idea.
What's
double
he talking
hazy
about?
IPA.
Yeah,
It
it's
was.
great.
I had it
Couple weeks ago?
No, it was like July maybe.
Oh,
A couple months ago.
Yeah, a
couple months ago. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks hazy.
It is hazy. And it's not on tap yet. We have the cans out, but it's not on tap yet.
What makes y'all decide what goes on tap and what goes on the cans? Did we ask that question?
We can everything, but right now we're a little backed up with the draft, so we need to sell through the draft beer to just make room.
Okay.
to fit 'em
Are you canning everything?
We do. We do super small runs. So
Okay.
we have our own canner. We do anywhere between 500 and 1,000 cans. So
Do you do personal? So like instead of a growler, if I came and wanted to can the beer, would you personally can like a 2-pack?
No,
What?
I would not.
Okay.
What a two-pack.
I'm not sure what he's asking.
Me either.
Because some breweries I've been to where you're like, I want to take the beer home and it's not, I don't want a growler. So they'll actually can the beer.
Oh, the crowler.
That is
Yeah, you
good.
can go
Like
with
a
a crowd.
32 ounce
No,
crowler.
like I've seen this.
So we have, that's how we used to can the beer. But no.
They said,
Not
"No, we
anymore.
out.
Yeah.
We out of that business."
It's, there's just, it's
That is
a bit of a
freaking
setup,
delicious.
and
Yeah,
we aren't
I understand.
I'll say we aren't able to do that right now.
No problem.
That is good.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna dude.
It smells delicious.
Oh my God, it does. Jesus.
It's a juice
That
bomb.
tastes delicious. It's really juicy.
It smells juicy.
It is. You just wait.
And this is a
Till it
electric
hits your lips.
whisker.
To hit your lips.
Now it all makes sense about the cats because I didn't know what a
Right.
cat.
I remember that now.
See, but this one we got you because it actually isn't. We made it a cat on the can, but Electric Whiskers name doesn't come from a cat.
Oh, what is it? A song?
No.
So
Never mind. I thought it was the Muppets. That's Electric Mayhem.
we're history buffs,
Okay.
and we have friends who are also history buffs. And we got a friend who's a park ranger down in Virginia. He's like me. He's like into like war, like military history, and he was reading about some Italian World War I general who had these like crazy facial hair, and he had his nickname Electric Whiskers just because his facial hair was all crazy. I don't remember what the Italian translation was, but it's like, oh, that's a great beer name.
Right, that was a good way to tie that into the cat.
Yes, it works.
cat theme.
Yes, it works.
So like Electric Whiskers, put a cat in,
Right.
make it like lightning. That's cool. So,
Yeah, that was perfect.
Todd, what's your reenacting specialty?
I do Revolutionary War, 18th century. I do American stuff, but I also do British. And I guess the unit that I usually reenact with is the 40th of Foot Light Infantry Company. And they're like a British regiment that was involved during the American Revolution, but they kind of gained their fame right here in Germantown, at the Battle of Germantown, which took place in 1777. And
They lost, though, didn't they?
they won that battle. But during that battle, this ties it back to the brown ale. The Americans go back 2 weeks before the Battle of Germantown. The British attacked this American position, like surprise attacked them, and ended up killing a lot of Americans. It was a very one-sided battle. So the Americans were on the attack at the Battle of Germantown and saw these British guys who were involved with that battle just a couple weeks ago. And they saw them, they got all pissed off, and they're like, hey, those are the guys that just killed all our other guys that were over there. Let's get at them. So the officer yelled out, it's like, have at the bloodhounds, avenge the Wayne affair, and they shoot a volley, and they attack the British soldiers. So the nickname Bloodhounds kind of sticks with this regiment that I now reenact with. And
It all ties in.
yeah, a lot of people ask, like, why did you do British? Why not American? It's like, I don't know. It's
1-1. They got one. Like I reenact the battle that we won. Right?
just an interest, I guess. But I do both sides. I'm not just British.
That's when Spin the Block goes wrong.
I do both sides.
He said do.
That's what I was thinking.
do
I was
on
a
both
little
sides.
confused for a moment. I thought we were going to have to stop the podcast and have a conversation. I think we might be okay.
So you. I'm sorry about. I got more reenactment questions. So you like your favorite is the British side for that particular one. What's your favorite American to
For the
when you're reenacting?
there's one group that it's actually kind of a mix of other reenacting groups that came together to create another group. That was what we
Like
did.
a comedy troupe,
Yeah, it's like a
but with history.
yeah, or like when like all these members from other bands form like a super group.
Yeah,
That's kind of what it was.
Okay.
We formed up this group for what's called the 2nd Battalion of the Philadelphia Associators. They were like a militia group that was raised during the American Revolution. So a lot of research was done on how they looked in their uniform and everything. And all of us came together, and we did it a few times where we'd go up to Trenton and do the march from Trenton to Princeton, which happened like in early January of 1777. It is a long march. It was hard. It was cold. It was really rough, but it's sort of cool that we all kind of came together with this impression and did what these guys did 250 years ago and made it work. So I think that's one of the groups that I thought was like a lot of fun to do with. And we did it a couple more times after that, but after that sort of fizzled out with COVID.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to get something like that back together again.
Okay. You still reenacting over there, Laura?
No, I do not reenact.
Retired? Okay.
He said you retired.
She said it real fast. We're like, nope, it's not for me.
You know, you want the real answer?
Yeah, what's the real answer?
Take another sip. I hate that shit. It was just a paycheck, and I learned some beer shit.
Sometimes. No, I mean, I think the British reenacting group he works with is very progressive, and so like the uniform and equipment is expensive. So that's part of it. And then like my COVID body happened, so I don't fit into my uniform anymore.
Touche.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers.
I still appreciate history. I drive the chase car when they're marching from Trenton to Princeton.
Was there a chase car in?
There wasn't. I don't think there was.
Okay,
but
just checking.
That's a decent march.
George Washington.
Yeah.
the best part
like
of
14
their march
miles
is
away.
It's a fast
there's a
drive,
part where
but
it's like
it's
2
far.
o'clock in the morning and the bars are letting out, and they're like it's the same time every year that they do it. They're like bars are letting out, and then all these drunk people are like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Soldiers are like, wait a minute. I'm not that drunk.
I was like, "Soldiers."
It's in Philly too. What is happening?
Right.
They're wearing those funny clothes.
What was in that liquor? I done transported back.
Right, I'm hazy. This is hazy. Good Lord.
That is true.
I really like this structure.
What do you guys have coming up in the future? Any events or any beer releases you got?
So we do have our 3-year anniversary coming up in about a month.
Okay.
January 17th.
Nice.
This is our 3-year anniversary.
You guys doing something?
So yeah, we're gonna plan I think like a whole weekend of stuff. So it'll be like live music, beer releases and stuff. We do have a special beer lined up. That is a Baltic Porter sitting in those barrels right now. Those are bourbon barrels, and it's been sitting in that for close to a year.
Sheesh.
And we did sample it maybe 2 months ago, and it's amazing. So we're
It's
excited.
even better now.
Would you say that might be your might be your strongest beer, maybe?
Yeah, it's like we release a strong beer every year. So the first 2 years was a barley wine aged in barrels. And that was like around 13.5%.
Yeah.
We're expecting this to be about the same.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and it's
And those ones do sell out, so we're excited about it. But
it doesn't taste like it's 13.5.
Oh, I have to be there for that. When's that?
Smooth.
January 17th, that beer
January
will get
17th.
released.
Yes. January 17th.
Is that like Martin Luther King weekend? Is that Martin?
It is.
Should be.
It is.
Guess
Yeah.
what?
The 17th falls on the Tuesday.
Okay.
So the Tuesday after the
You
weekend.
guys like Tuesdays? What's going on with you on Tuesdays?
Tuesdays?
happens.
Y'all do the beer 101 on Tuesdays? You doing the lager
Yeah, we do
101 on
Taco
Tuesdays?
Tuesdays.
Yep.
Do
Yeah.
comedy on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
We're open.
Tuesdays.
I mean, I'll
Why
tell-
Tuesdays?
Tuesdays is like the new Friday here.
It is.
Is it?
For us.
Tuesdays is New Friday?
Yes.
There's some weeks where Tuesdays like one of our
Tuesday
busiest
is
days.
a big day for us.
I can see y'all the Tuesday stuff.
Yeah. We're open 7 days a week, which not all
a lot
the
of
breweries
breweries,
are.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're
you're
open
right.
7 days a week, and we do Metal Mondays. We always have a great taco truck on Tuesdays. We were doing live music on Wednesday. We're halting that for the winter. We do free live comedy, and that's the second Tuesday and last Thursday of every month.
Okay.
Fridays we have vinyl DJs that come through. So
Oh, snap.
yeah, we always have cool stuff going on.
On that free comedy day, it's free to the public. How do you get the comedians? Are they local comedians, amateur comedians, professional comedians? What's going on?
So Mel Harris is a Philadelphia comedian who hosts a show for us. A great friend. He's been doing it with us now for over 2 years. He finds the comedians.
Okay.
And so it's a mix of talent, depending on who's in town and whose schedules are open.
Right.
But for a free comedy show, it's
Right.
great. And
Yeah.
it's packed in here. Every time he has it, it's packed.
Nice.
So.
When is that?
Second Tuesday and last Thursday. It's a little bit.
Second Tuesday,
December
last
12th. I don't know when this airs, but December 12th is the next.
Yep.
oh,
I don't know. Every time he got up, he was going another beer.
Oh, I know.
I was like, I know.
Just
he-
one
It's
more.
either the 12th or the 13th. Whatever the Tuesday is that week is.
Maybe that should be on a T-shirt.
Nice.
Just one more.
Well, it's
tell
like
us.
pass me another.
Did tell us. Oh my gosh, Todd.
It's the last one.
Okay, are you sure?
Okay, what's that one?
Todd's not sure.
The blonde,
It's a
blonde
Belgian
ale.
blonde ale.
This,
Another beer that isn't out yet, but
Oh,
we've
this-
had this beer. We've brewed this beer a lot, and it is definitely a fan favorite.
All
oh, it's
right.
not out yet. Let me clean my cup out some.
Pour a little in there.
Or you can rinse it with the water if you want to. Yeah.
I think I don't know. All right.
Robert said,
Yeah, because he got up very suspiciously, so I was like,
Oh, when he turns the mic off and sits it down real nice and light, I know he's going to get beer.
I was like, yeah.
Well, this one, it's standard blonde ale, Belgian blonde ale. It's good though. It's one of the more popular ones here.
It definitely looks good.
The reason why I think this beer is so popular is because of people who aren't into craft beer. It's a very approachable beer style. You wouldn't think that a Belgian blonde ale is the approachable style, but
oh yeah, I see
That's
what you
refreshing.
mean. I see what you're saying.
so it's like full flavor,
It's almost
but it's
minty a
not
little
hoppy.
bit.
Yeah.
Y'all taste a little mint in there?
It's
Well, it's the banana,
the-
the banana E.
yeah,
That banana
That
clove.
banana, that-
banana E.
Where's
well,
the name?
'cause
Plug,
it's
Plug
like-
Street. Where's
it's
the
like
name come from?
the yeast
Clovey.
like the yeast that's kind of used gives that banana clove flavor.
Yeah.
Peppery.
Minty.
So there is still a cat on that label, but the Belgian beers we do, they're World War I
Found 'em.
themed.
Oh, you found it?
I found the cat.
Oh, you found a cat.
Yeah.
The World War One thing.
Plug
Yes.
Street. Why is it called
The
Plug
Bel-
Street? Did y'all say that? I'm sorry.
When
I
we,
missed that.
When I brewed a Belgian triple before we opened, it happened to be like the centennial of World War I. So like, I'm going to name my Belgian triple after something from World War I. So I called it Over There, which is a famous song that was released during World War I as a way to try to get soldiers to get into the army and be sent over there. So our Belgian triple is called Over There. And then we started brewing these other Belgian beers. So I'm like, let's just keep this World War I theme going. So Plug Street is it's actually a Belgian town. The British soldiers that were stationed there couldn't pronounce the town right. It was actually called like Plowstraw or something like that. So they just started calling it Plug Street. So that's kind of a cool name for a beer. So that's where Plug Street came from.
All right. I would think more of your beers have like the
historic
thing.
Yeah.
We do. Bertucci is another one.
Okay.
So the one that we had, the Belgian Strong Dark Ale.
Oh, yeah, don't
Bertucci
remind
is
me.
the name
I
of a
know.
cat that was adopted by a
The Belgian
Belgian officer during World War I.
Wait, Bertucci's the name of the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, so y'all kept the cat. Y'all
Yeah.
ain't
She's
playing.
right.
Y'all are not playing out here with this.
Took a little research to find that one.
Yeah.
Subtly, always, subtly, always.
Right. Nice.
And then we have the other one is Bells of Hell,
Yeah.
which is
Bells
another
of Hell.
reference to World War I. So,
There was
Yeah.
a cat named Belle that went
no,
to hell.
that's not cats.
Oh, okay.
They'll keep you on your toes.
I'm like, what's going
I
on?
know.
What's a cat named
There's
Hell
so-
Bells.
It's so funny. We have a direct register, and people are like, well, that can't be cat. And it's like, it actually is absolutely cat. Direct register is the way that cats walk, where their back paw
Wow.
steps in the same
Wow.
spot as their front
Wow.
paw.
First of all, who
Wow.
looked that up to find out that
Wow.
information?
Locked in.
That is funny.
Wow.
You guys always have to have a cat in the house now, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a cat wandered into the beer garden right before it got cold. And every person who went back there was like, is this your brewery? The cat was just jumping on people's laps. And we're like, I don't know where that cat came from. And he got it home.
Oh, shit.
No, he's super friendly. We were so tempted to adopt him as our
Yeah.
brewery cat, but we just can't have a brewery cat right
Yeah.
now. Breweries that have a space that they can close off,
Right,
it's
yeah.
great, but we don't have a space. It's all open, and I'm like,
That cat will be everywhere.
we can, there's cat
And
boxes.
then people be allergic, so
Yeah.
that'd be tough.
I don't want an electric whisker in my beer. I don't want it.
Same.
Thank you.
Any favorite beers that you had today?
Yes.
We drank a lot of beers
Yes. What is
Yep.
it?
today.
Pentucci.
Petrucci? Yes,
Oh,
that
okay.
one.
Belgian
Belgian
cat.
strong.
That Belgian
Yes.
cat.
I'm a sucker for a Pilsner, so I love the G-Town.
G-Town's great.
Strutter.
The G-Town was good too.
The G-Town Strutter is my favorite can. The can art on the G-Town. This pimp.
that
this boy.
Petrucci is my
Yeah.
favorite.
I like Petrucci.
G-Town will be my second favorite.
And I'm a
And
just
this
say
Plug
because
Street
it's
actually would be my
award winning.
third.
Oh, I like the paper.
yeah.
I like
Yeah,
the
and
paper.
this,
yeah.
and we don't have a name for it. I love all these stuff. Oh my God. This is really
It's
really
still unresolved.
I like that a lot.
Still.
So yeah, can art, G-Town Strutter, and this unresolved.
I like them all actually. They were all
Yeah,
good.
well, you can't find a bad beer, so that's actually a good thing. You can go and try, get a flight or not, or get a whole pint and enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, because some people don't do flights that we've learned in terms of some of the breweries that don't do flights because they want you some brewers say they want you to experience
Get
the
the full
whole
experience,
pint, right?
yeah.
The way they want you to experience. Others,
I don't understand
But I don't either, because I almost feel like the flight would make me determine whether I want to experience
Exactly.
more of that.
It's to each his
of
own, I
that
guess.
beer.
You get a sample, and then you're like,
Yeah.
well, I like that one. I'm going to get the full
It's like when you go to
experience.
Costco's
I'ma
or
drink the
BJ's
four
and they got
get
the
the
samples.
one I like the best in the pint. Exactly. Yep.
You know, Costco's and BJ's, they got the samples. Then you be like, oh, let me go get a pack of that.
Yeah, I gotta get that whole rotisserie chicken. I want the whole
Right.
thing.
right. I guess it must be just philosophy, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
it really
Each
just
his own.
depends
It's
on-
a
It's also
complete
like
style.
what mood you're in as
Right,
a customer.
right, yeah.
Like whether you want to do the small ones or you're like, I
I
just want
think
a
that
full
option,
pour.
behind that option available
Yeah.
is a good thing. And also,
don't mind it.
Also with you guys, like you said, back to the community and the community not knowing about craft beer as much as you would like. I mean, you guys being the educators in the community
Right,
for craft
right.
beer, I feel
Flights
like you
are
have
important.
to go with flight.
Yeah, flights are
y'all are
important.
willing to give 14 pours of your beers to
Sample.
Samples. No, but
You
you
gonna get a little
can
sample.
take for a sample. You can take maybe like a little
Right,
bit
that's
of the
a
flight.
pour and whatever. It's a, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter, goddamn.
But it's
I heard y'all
also,
giving out free beer.
but I'll tell you too, the other part around that is with 9,000 breweries and breweries constantly opening,
Right.
that we've all had an experience where we've gone to a brewery and you order a beer and it's not good.
Right.
And then you kind of lose trust. And so
Right.
for us, it's like, as soon as you taste one of our beers, you're like, oh, this is good.
Right.
And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I can trust that like the rest of the beers are going to be true to style and they're going to taste good. But that having that trust is why we do the samples, because I don't mind that you want to sample the beer before you buy it. I don't mind it because I know when you sample that beer,
You're gonna buy it.
like it and
Yeah.
you're gonna buy it.
And
So
it's real hard for
pour you a
people to
couple of
sample
ounces.
14 beers and then walk out. Like that's really
Right,
retarded.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
I don't- that's
You're right,
silly. That
right,
would be-
right.
That sounds silly to me.
Right.
No, and hardly anyone does sample all 14.
Right. They
might
usually
be
get to like
oh, I
3.
like hazy IPAs. And
Right.
you're like, oh, these are the two that we
Right,
have on.
right,
Here's
right,
one, here's
right,
two.
right.
You tell me which one
Yeah,
you want.
yeah.
Or I like, what do you like to drink? I like Heineken. Here are the ones that we have that are most
Right,
similar to that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Here's
By the time they
three.
taste 4, they buying a pint.
course,
Of course.
yes,
Yeah,
of
you get
course.
it. Nah.
I like cognac. Oh well, here you go.
Yes. Take this Patucci.
And at a beer festival years ago, Garrett Oliver told us if you go to a brewery and they have a Pilsner, that really
try the
shows
Pilsner.
you how they can brew. Because if you can brew a Pilsner that's really well, then you know how to brew because you can't hide anything. I think I said this before. You can't hide anything in a Pilsner like you can do with some of the stouts. You can throw some other adjuncts in there. I'm like, coconut.
Right.
Or peanut
IPA
butter.
just loaded with hops.
Right. This was nasty. Put some peanut butter in it.
Right. Right.
And I think that's that part of the creativity and the passion that all three, me, Todd, and our head brewer Bogdan have, and Steph too, our assistant brewer, have about brewing. Every single beer that we brew has its own recipe. Not only the malt and the hops, water profiles, salt additions. Like, it isn't like we really don't half-ass anything when it comes to any beer that we brew.
That's good.
So everything is very, like, we do a lot of work and put a lot of passion behind every single beer that we brew.
I guess we didn't talk about Bogdan. How did he get into the mix? We didn't even talk about how Bogdan game got to Attic.
Bogdan we met Bogdan through my work. So his girlfriend, now wife at the time, she was a seasonal park ranger with me. So I remember we would go out after a day of work and a bunch of us would gather up and, significant others would come by too. And we met Bogdan through her when he was still working at Trogs.
Gotcha.
And at the time I was homebrewing, so I was had all these questions like, you're a head brewer and that's cool. What, you have all these beer questions.
Right.
We never thought we were going to open a brewery when we met him, but then when we were going to open a brewery, we thought about it. We watched so many breweries open that were home brewers who didn't have any sort of commercial brewing experience. Yeah. And the beer would come out and it was not right.
Right, 'cause that's a different beast, right?
Yeah.
So different.
And they wouldn't, the brewery wouldn't survive just because the beer wasn't good. Right. And we didn't want that to happen. It's like, I've been homebrewing, but I've never done it on a commercial system, so I want to make sure when we brew, we have somebody who knows what he's doing. So the only brewer we know was Bogdan.
Right.
And we reached out to
So
him.
we asked him 4 times, and 4 times he told us no.
But I think he was also sort of
curious,
seeing if we were going to actually do it.
Right.
And then eventually he was like, "Hey, are you still looking for a brewer?" And I was like, "Yes, we are."
He got
Please
tired
come.
of driving to Hershey. I don't know.
He was at that time, he had left Trogs and was working at Trillium up in Boston.
Okay.
And his Ange, his wife, was also working up there. And so she ended up working on our team as well. She was a bartender for a while before she started her career as a real estate agent. But
He also worked at Forest and Maine
Forest
before he
and
came
Maine.
here.
So
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah, he's definitely experienced.
He's talented.
Yes,
He's-
we are extremely lucky to have him on our team.
Right.
And he's a private person. So if anybody can get him on a podcast, like,
Challenge accepted.
Props to you.
Challenge accepted.
there was one time last week or the week before, we were sitting in the office and I hear his voice talking to someone and I was like, how did a customer get back there to talk to him? And he's probably like, what is going on here?
Get them
And
away
that
from
customer
me.
still tells us, he's like, I talked to Bogdan. I talked to Bogdan. And I was like, oh.
That's
gosh.
funny.
He's just a private person.
Right.
We respect that, though. It's like, you know, having a personality in brewing definitely helps.
Right.
But
He does
I'm
have
not,
a personality.
He does, but I'm not
private.
Gonna,
A private one.
So one he doesn't share with everyone.
I'm not gonna force you to be out there, and I'm not going to, whatever.
Right.
For sure.
He's like, y'all got that. I just want to brew beer,
I
right?
make this beer. Y'all like this beer, don't you?
Yes.
That's exactly
So
it.
when the Maibach won a GABF medal, because we brew it with Wireman malt.
He's also kind of humble in a way,
Oh,
sort
so
of.
humble. But Wireman malt, if you brew a GABF winning medal, they send you a very nice packet, like care package.
Because you use their malt. Yeah.
And so they send this thing, and it's like, we want to know what overall size you wear. And Todd and I are like, what the hell? You're what the? And so he got these really cool, like, red overalls. We've yet to see them. And I'm like, when are you going to wear them? Like, come on. wear 'em.
Right.
But he
Wore
was.
him at home once and posted it on his
Yes, he was
Instagram.
so like, it was really great he was excited about it, and it's so worth it. Like, he deserves all the recognition for
Right.
all the hard work that he does. But it was so funny where I was like, I'd be wearing them every single day.
Right.
Bitches. Hashtag winner.
Right. Right. Why not?
They're like, nope, just one time. You guys got it.
And we don't wear the same size. So I can't even bother that. I said, oh, if we win another one, like, do we then?
Right.
That's my size. Yeah.
We'll see.
I did brew the beer, guys.
I mean, one thing we did have learned from like probably the last 2 weeks that home brewing and going to commercial brewing is a different animal altogether.
It's huge.
Yes, everything.
You wouldn't think it. It's like, oh, you just scale it up. It's like, there's so much more math and stuff
Right.
involved.
All right.
Plus, it's a business,
Right.
and that's the part too where there's a lot of beers that we would love to brew, and there's a lot of stuff that we would love to do, and right now everything has to be dictated by the business,
Right.
and running the business is hard. And we have at one time we had 28 employees. That's the most we had. Right now we're at like 23 employees.
That's still a lot.
It is a lot of people.
Boss.
Boss, is that what
Boss.
you said? Oh, that is my name.
Yeah.
That is,
There you go.
That's what they call me.
Cat boss.
Not the cat boss. I'm the boss.
The boss.
The
Boss.
Boss with
I'm the
capitals.
boss.
Capitals.
Wait, so what do they call you?
The
I'm the boss too.
You
T-O-O.
actually have a name.
Boss too as well.
That goes with the cat and the hat theme. The cat theme
God,
boss
that's
one,
funny.
boss two. I like
We
that.
don't own the same percentage of the company. I'll tell you that.
You do still work
Or
on
woman owns.
Right. Yeah.
That makes
There's an
sense.
advantage
Down
in it.
to it. There's one person who decides.
Yeah, I have the
Right.
final decision.
She's
Understood.
a boss.
Yes.
But
Capitals.
Safety first, sir. Safety first.
Exactly.
You know where your bread's buttered.
Right.
I
have
don't
a-
get paid from the brewery yet, so he actually pays
We
for
know
me.
where the bread's buttered.
I'm the boss too.
Here.
Yes,
Here.
it's my motivation to grow the business.
I want to nerd out real quick. This is my last question. You guys mentioned something about salt, and every recipe is different down to the salt quality, down to the water profile. I just want to talk about the water profile. Like, what is a water profile from a Belgian versus a IPA versus a hazy?
Don't give
Like,
away
it's-
all the brewing
I'm
secrets.
sure that's I didn't
General knowledge.
She said boss. Don't give away all the brewery secrets.
Oh, don't do all the secrets. But can you?
She said
can
boss
you,
too. Boss too.
Can you be generic about what a water profile is?
Yeah,
and,
so,
and what it takes to change it and things like that.
So, beer lovers know there's 4 main ingredients in beer. So you got yeast, hops, barley, and water.
Yes.
All of them are extremely important. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important water is.
Right.
It's like most people think, I just
The
throw
most
whatever
important.
water in, it's going to be fine.
This tap is good.
Yeah. So there's a lot of factors in it. So if you're like if you're homebrewing, pulling tap water, there's going to be like chlorine and all kinds of
Right.
stuff in there.
pH all
That
jacked
chlorine's
up.
going to affect the taste of the beer.
Okay.
So you want to try to get that out, which here we got a filter that filters all that out. But what we do is we'll get water samples every few months just to see what the water profile is that's coming out of like our water system. And that'll allow us to figure out what we need to do to the water profile for the certain beers. So
Make this to make that.
yeah, so for example, like the IPAs are a good one for water profiles. So the West Coast IPA traditionally has like a hard water profile. So there's certain like minerals and salts that are in it that give it that hard water character. And when you brew up like a West Coast style IPA, it's very bitter because of that, not only hops, but the water profile kind of
That adds to
enhances that bitterness from the hops.
Okay.
With like a hazy IPA, you want a softer water profile because that's going to make it feel more pillowy, more citrusy, and so forth. So you're adding a different kind of mineral salts in order to enhance like that soft water profile. So each beer style is different because of that. I think water profiles are huge. Over in England, for example, it's like the original IPA came out of there, and
Right.
they had like one brewery that happened to be next to a river that had a super hard water profile, and these pale ales that were coming out of that were like super bitter because of this water profile. But then you go to a different part of England, they're brewing like porters and stouts because the water profile from the water source they're drawing from that is like more fit towards that kind of
Right.
stout. So Germany, Belgium, all these different areas where all these different beer styles originated is all because of that water profile, and it's kind of interesting.
Very
And
much.
as a craft brewer, I think water profile is huge to research and find out. Like if you're going to do a Belgian beer, you want to look at what type of water profile is happening in these Belgian like monasteries and stuff where they're brewing these, so that we can try to match that the best we can to brew up that beer
Yes,
and create it. So like our West Coast water profile is similar to something you might find in California.
Right. Okay.
The hazy one is similar to what you might find up in New England.
Yeah.
And then like our brown ale is based on a English water profile. So it is a little tricky because the water that's coming into Germantown is from the Queen Lane Reservoir,
But it switches.
and it does kind of switch every once in a while,
So how often do you guys get
and it's hard to like kind of match the
readout?
water profile.
But that's why
exact.
y'all are checking it every.
Yeah, like every
couple
3 months
or
we
so.
3 months.
pull a sample and we'll send the water profile out and have it come back. But they do switch where our water comes from. But it's really important that we pay attention
Yeah.
to what's going on and adjust the beer recipes as needed so that the beers are consistent and that they taste the best that they can.
Being from this area, we have I know about water profile because being from this area, we like hoagie subs.
Oh, yeah, same with bread.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And Brits.
listening to a podcast, a guy was like, "I'm from the Philadelphia area and I opened up a sub shop in Florida, and I can't make the bread."
Yeah.
He was like, "The water is just different. Like I can't. The bread doesn't taste the same. So I'm getting day old bread from Philly shipped to Florida in order to make my sandwiches for my customers." And he was like, it's that important to me that the bread quality is good because this water is shit for
Same
my bread
exactly.
making. Yeah. So it makes perfect sense now hearing that. I didn't even consider that was the same thing.
Well, that was funny
Thank
because I
you
was
for that.
listening to another podcast and they were talking about whiskey, where their whiskey, because of the creek that they sit next
That's
to,
why that water
is
that's why that
it's an
whiskey.
award-winning whisky because of that
That
creek.
water.
That
And that's
they
why
sit
I
that
we
makes
own this
sense.
creek
Minerals
now.
coming out of
Yeah,
it.
that,
Right.
see,
Makes it awesome.
I thank y'all for that. Thank y'all for that.
Yeah.
I like
you
that.
don't you don't know what the city is putting into the water
Right.
either, and the amount of chlorine or fluoride
Absolutely.
or whatever that's getting put in, it affects the beers or whatever you're making from the water.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right.
We were doing it even as home brewers. We were sending out water samples, and then it's great because we live so close to the brewery that our house pulls
It's
from
the
the same
same
water
thing, yeah.
supply as a brewery does.
Okay.
So you know what kind of water you
yes.
got at
So
your house.
when we were sending
But
it out,
when we
and
lived
knowing-
in Delaware County, the water was completely different.
Yeah.
And the beer that I was brewing in Delaware County was
Yeah.
different. It's it's interesting.
Very
Even though it's
much
the same like malt.
So I'm looking
hop
at this
bill
water.
and all
No,
that.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
What creek did
Don't
this
start
water come
rumors. You're
from?
fine.
what's going on with this water? I'm not sure. I've got a headache after.
All right, I think it's the beers. It's not.
Do you have any more questions?
That
for
was
Laura
mine.
and Todd?
I wanted to nerd out. They nerded out for me.
Nope.
Thank you guys.
Nope.
Appreciate y'all.
Yoda? We want to.
No.
Yoda.
Do I have any more questions?
No.
Nah.
Yoda likes to ask questions after the fact.
I mean, no, I don't have any.
Or we want to thank Laura
I
and
won't
Todd
do
from
that.
Attic Brewing for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
guys. Appreciate
thank you. The story of the conversation is great.
Before we wrap it up, we always like to know how people can find you on Instagram, social media, all the good stuff, or World Wide Webs. How can they find more
The
about Attic
directions,
Brewing?
the address, all
Right,
that.
all that
Yep.
good stuff.
So our website is atticbrewing.com. We do have all the links there for how to get here, social media and all that. Our social media tags are just Attic Brewing, Attic Brewing.
And then we're 137 Berkeley Street. We're open 7 days a week. So take the ride out. We have free off-street parking, which is a big thing.
That's a big
we
thing.
have 2 parking lots.
Yeah.
2 parking
Yeah.
lots. So
I was really impressed by that.
When
Only brewery in Germantown. So
Don't ever forget that, guys.
at the moment, at least.
Yep, at the moment.
Right now.
come see us.
with off-street parking.
Yeah, come see
That's
us.
major.
Wait, is there any other
Yo.
breweries in the Northeast area though?
Yeah.
It is
We're in the northwest.
Northwest. This is Northwest.
Yeah, we have New Ridge. They also won a GABF medal this year. New Ridge is great. Twisted Gingers. We have an Iron Hill. We have Young American Ciders. Wissahickon Brewing. Chestnut Hill Brewing. Fat Lady Brewing.
It's like a nice
Yeah,
beer
so you
tour
guys could do a nice
That's
beer
about it.
tour
Yeah,
out
this-
here. You
this
can come
is a
out here
beer
and do a
tour
nice
town
beer
right
tour.
now.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
I like what you're going. We're going to talk
Yes.
after
Yes.
this podcast.
Yes.
So come out to the Northwest and check
Yes.
us out.
Yes.
There it is. Yeah. All right, yo.
You can find me on IG at IM302 YODA.
All right, Lou.
Yo, you's a hater.
My name is Lou Belgium. I don't know if you've seen me at all during this whole episode,
see me
but you can
either?
see me now.
Why?
I'm on them
Like
Instagrams.
that.
And you can find Bruising Banter Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Bruising Banter Podcast. You can even go to www.bruisingbanterpodcast if you want to get some of this merch, like right here. Right going on. You can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can even say, Alexa, play Bruising Banter Podcast, because it'll be on Amazon Music as well. I tried it again.
You get stuck on this part every time.
Yeah, but you can go to Google Podcast. Well, I already said Google Podcast. But you can also go iHeart and Pandora and check us out as well. Check this episode when it drops on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday is a bruise day.
Tuesday is the Brews Day.
And that's their day. Tuesday is their day, so you know it works.
Tuesday, Friday.
Hop in the attic.
I don't even think I said this before. This has been episode 190.
190, episode 190 of
Banter
Brews and Banter
Podcast.
Podcast.
4 years into this
Nice.
thing.
Until next time.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yes, bye.
Live from Germantown.
Yeah. You don't gotta worry if I'm gonna text you back. Yeah. Every time I get a chance, I'm trying